Welcome to Around the House, sponsored by Romac Building Supply. I'm your host, Don Magruder. If you like today's show, go to aroundthehouse.tv, where you can sign up for our YouTube channel and our weekly newsletter. In this segment of Around the House, Phil Mastrosimone of Mastrosimone Construction will be joining us to discuss custom construction for your new home and remodel. Now, there's some people that call themselves custom builders, and then there's some people which I call custom builders, and that's what Phil does. He puts the custom in custom. So with that, I'd like to introduce Phil Mastrosimone of Mastrosimone Construction. Phil, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Don.
We are so glad to have you here today, because when I say you put the custom in custom building, I really mean it. You know, a lot of builders call themselves custom builders, but you have your own shop, and we're going to get into all that later. Take a few minutes and tell us about yourself and your company.
Well, I'm originally from Jamestown, New York. My father was in construction. He didn't want me to be in construction, so he sent me to school, and I got a 4-year degree in music performance and audio engineering. Then I came to Florida. I worked at Disney for a while, and then I realized, wow, there's no money to be made in the music industry. It's very, very hard. So I actually slid over to the central shops at Disney World, and I started working in the fiberglass department and the mill shop, and I really took a liking to that. And then by the age of 26, I started a trim company, and I trimmed for about 7 years and realized, wow, things are like out of square, nothing's plumb, nothing's level. So I thought, wow, I need to probably get my builder's license. So in '96, I got my builder's license and building custom homes ever since.
And that's the difference. You're a perfectionist.
I'm a hands-on guy.
Yeah, you're a hands-on perfectionist.
Hands-on.
Square, plumb, and level does matter to you, doesn't it?
It does.
Talk about your operation now. You have a shop, and talk about the complexity of items you deal with.
Well, when we sit down with a homeowner, we pretty much do a lot of creating. I do a lot of design work on every home that comes to the table. So having a mill shop and specializing in millworks, I mean, it's not for everybody, and there's a lot of contemporary homes out there that don't have any millworks, but they do have cabinetry and built-ins and that sort of stuff. So by having a mill shop, we can create our own works of art, customizing them to the owner's specifications, and we can work on finishes and different textures and colors, and all wrapped up in we got about a 6,000 square foot shop right downtown Leesburg.
Now, I don't want to give the wrong illusion. You build all kind of projects, from remodels to regular homes to $1 million custom homes. Mm-hmm. You service the whole gamut. If someone had a question about today's show, what we're going to discuss, how can you be reached, Phil?
My number is 352-267-7834.
Phil, when you talk about a custom project, give our viewers a sense of what areas you can really add some custom features to their home.
Well, the way I start, I usually take the set of plans that they've had drawn up by an architect, and we go through them room by room, and I always ask them to put a folder together for me on certain items that appeal to them. Right. Whether it's a dining room, a kitchen, staircase, ceilings, front doors, windows, doors. And as they put that portfolio together for me, that allows me to get in their head and kind of design around their flavor. I don't really like to copy anything that's already been done, but that allows me to get inside their head on what type of flavor, so to speak, that they're looking for in their home.
So let's just take it from the front door. You actually can build custom doors.
We can build front doors. We've done many front custom doors
out of various types of lumber and build materials.
Yep, and we typically stick with woods that actually hold up well for exterior doors.
Well, I've seen exterior doors you've done from elegant to barnwood,
mm-hmm.
and I've also seen the doors like I call the fantasy doors from Disney.
Yeah, we've done. It's a really fun experience when you're working with the homeowners and they actually come to the shop and actually see something. When the lumber comes in, it's just rough sawn. So we're starting out with just blanks of wood, and then for them to see it go through the machines and moldings. And a lot of people can put moldings up. It's a matter of how do you assemble those moldings to make it different and unique.
But you also do custom moldings. You do custom built-in cabinets,
Mm-hmm.
custom regular cabinets, don't you?
Yep. Yeah, we do everything from anything that has to do with wood, and we're liking to we're bringing metal and tile work and other different type of materials together with our millworks. We use a lot of wrought iron in our millworks and our doors, so a lot of homeowners have a specific thing they pick up at like Renegers, and they say, Phil, can we use this in our project? And we'll incorporate whether it's a piece of stained glass or a piece of metal or tile work. We use a lot of veneers, burley walnuts, maples, so we use a lot of burls.
So a home from Mastrosimone Construction is a custom home with a unique signature of that client.
Very, very unique, yeah.
Let's talk about the process. If someone called you today, and first off, what number would they call you at?
352-267-7834.
All right, so they call you and say, Phil, we're interested in building a custom home. Take us through the process. They call you, so what's next?
Well, I usually meet them at my office with their set of plans. I usually have them set over the set of plans prior to our meeting so that I can make my notes. And I've got a 78 line item scope of specs that I ask them, all the way from electrical to plumbing to fixtures to fountains, elevator. I mean, it's got everything on that, so we really don't miss anything. A lot of times it may not be part of the home that they're building, but it's a detailed sheet that I've done over 27 years that covers pretty much every aspect of building a custom home. So there's nothing really missed.
Okay, so you go through this checklist.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm assuming the plans are drawn?
Well, a lot of times the plans are already drawn the time that I get them. But then we make some changes because when they draw them, they're not really looking at the specs or the reveals. A lot of times, some clients want really wide door casings, but if it's not on the plans and the framers go out there and frame it, you typically only get 3.5-inch returns. So that really messes up your finished product. So I've got to know that ahead of time so that when I'm working with my framers, I need to know, how wide my casings are and give me enough room to make the trim out. Because one thing I really, really pet peeve is when you have to hack up the side of the casing because it's too close to the wall and you can't get your full casing detail.
And a lot of people are under a misconception that when they get a set of blueprints, everything's on it, detailed out, and that's really not the case.
That's 99% the case.
Yeah. In fact, you have to sit down with someone like you, that detailed person, because there are so many variances. All right, so you've gone through the checklist, you've adjusted the plans. I'm assuming you're going to price it out and do a contract, right?
That's correct. So I sit down, I go over their allowances, and I pretty much know what their allowances should be for that style and size of home. So I don't really put a low amount of budgets in there so that then I have to come back and really hit the client for extras because I didn't have enough money in there originally. And a lot of 80% of the cost is pretty much their choices. I mean, I can't change the block, the concrete, the footings, but as far as detail and finishes, that's pretty much all in their hands.
So when you quote the project and say everybody agrees on the price, how does the payment, do you get so much down, or how do you work that all out? And then generally, how long does it take to build a basic project?
Well, what I've been doing recently, and it works really well for me, I typically, when I sit down with a client, I explain to them I get a retainer. I get a $2,000 retainer up front. That tells me that they're interested in using me and they're not wasting my time bidding against 6 or 7 other builders. So that being said, they usually write a retainer, and then once we sign a contract and all the specifications are done, I actually reimburse them on the retainer. So they get the retainer back.
Wow. So
I'm not wasting their money and they're not wasting my time.
Okay.
And typically by then, if they were to go with another builder, they don't receive the retainer back. By then, I've made like 3 cents an hour because I have a lot of hours in educating the client on certain materials we use. I use pretty much the best quality of materials that we can possibly use so that when they decide to downsize or retire, they're going to be able to get every dime out of their house because we use the quality materials that pretty much I steer them in the direction to use.
And it's always important. Every project has change orders and switch ups. Always good to get those things in writing.
Yeah, and I always have a miscellaneous budget because I've never built a home where they've never made changes. So we always have a budget in there for those changes. So, and it works really well because if I have an allowance of $5,000 for fixtures and they spend $3,000, then they'll get a credit and they can use that towards their extras.
Say someone building like a 3,000 square foot custom house, from the time they talk to you to the house is delivered, About how long?
Well, it typically takes me about 3 to 4 weeks. It's been taking a little longer because
No, I'm
everybody.
talking about from
Right.
to
I'm just saying, yeah, to bid it. It takes me about 3 to 4 weeks to put my numbers together.
Yep.
Everybody seems to be really, really busy. It takes a while to get window quotes back. So people that want a quote in a week, 2 weeks, it's very, very hard to do that on a custom home. But typically on a 3,000 square foot home, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 9 months, depending on the details and the complexity of the project.
What are you finding out that people are saying is most important to their custom homes?
I think that the most important thing for them is to have a good experience building a home. So communication is top of my list, and that just doesn't mean with a homeowner, but as far as the contractor working with the electricians, the plumbers, the AC guys, because there's so many things that are going on that the electrician's not aware of, the plumber's not aware of, and I superintend all my jobs. I don't have a superintendent. I'm a hands-on contractor. So that's, I think, is what's really important to most homeowners.
And what feature, of all the features you can put in a home, what returns the best value?
To me personally, in my opinion, would be obviously their millworks. When you walk into a home, nobody ever says, "Wow, who did your framing?" or who did the roof? Who did your plumbing? You never hear that.
Right.
So I think the details and the craftsmanship and the creativity of a home when you walk into them, to me, that's what really sets it apart. And it's a passion of mine. I really suffer from this because I'm up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning doing design work, drawing, so that when I sit down with a client, I don't just give them one option. I give them 3 options on this nook that they want to build. So it's very personalized and it's very, very time consuming.
What's the biggest mistake people make when they build a custom home or custom remodel project?
I believe that there's not enough details in the plans, and they don't spend the time or with the builder to make sure that every detail is thought out and made notes of, so that the end result, at the end of the day, the homeowner needs to be real happy.
So you have to sit down and go through.
You have to sit down and go through that.
And the last question: why should someone hire Phil Mastrosimone versus a national builder?
Well, I believe it's the personal touch. It's more of a passion for me. It's not about, I do have to do it for an income, but it's more than that for me. It's at the end of the day, you want to stand back and create something that's going to be around way longer after than I'm gone.
Well, Phil, thank you for being our guest today. And one more time, if someone had a question, what's a good number they can reach you at?
That's 352-267-7834.
And I want to thank you for watching Around the House today. Be sure to go to aroundthehouse.tv to sign up for our YouTube channel and our weekly newsletter. Until next time, we will see you around the house.